Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is the 4th of March 2022. It's Friday 7:50 p.m. Again, the markets have closed like 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, and well, it's time for me to do my weekend forex forecast for the upcoming week. And well, we're not gonna waste so much time. We have all majors to cover and also about 3 cross pairs. And for the first time, I'm going to be including DXY. Some of you have really asked for it in the comment section of the past forecasts. So well, I'm going to be including the DXY analysis going forward. Okay. All right. So without any further delays, guys, we're going to take a look at the economical calendar to see what's going on, at least for next week, in terms of the economical agenda. Right now, if you take a look here, you will notice that well, on Sunday, Monday, we really don't have anything on the calendar. Okay, very sparse agenda in terms of high impact news and bank holidays. Okay, so on Tuesday, we only have the bank governor speaking, okay, from Australia. And then on Wednesday, we have job openings from the United States axis. And then the heavy day for next week is going to be Thursday and even maybe Friday, okay, where we have the rates from the interest rates from the European axis, all right, coming out ECB press conference, and also we have the CPI data coming from the United States axis, all on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have the employment and unemployment data from the Canadian axis, okay. So that's pretty much what we have on the economical calendar for high impact news that's already in the agenda, okay, for next week. Now, remember, there could be headlines that can easily cause the markets to move significantly or even cause spikes on your charts, especially because of what we have going on, the tension around the world right now, especially between Ukraine and Russia. So well, something to keep an eye on, any headlines that you see coming out from anywhere around the world. So just keep an eye. Anything can really move this market right now. The markets are quite volatile. The markets are trending. In my own opinion, just make sure that you're managing your risk, because that's actually the most important thing you can do as a trader. Now, with that out of the way, guys, let's take a look at the charts and see what we have from a technical perspective, or actually from a supply and demand perspective. Now, right now, I'm taking a look at DXY, all right? And well, from the weekly time frame, this pair actually it's not a pair, okay, but this index is actually almost like an inversion of the euro dollar, okay. It's almost like a negative correlation with the euro dollar, okay. But what do we have here? Obviously, this market is waxing strongly to the upside. You can see this week was a very bullish week, clearly taking off this level of resistance or structure that we have on our charts, okay. And we have this demand zone formed on the weekly time frame. All right, so definitely the bulls are in this market at this point. You can see the markets just managed to close around 98.50 institutional price level for the week. All right, so right now, well, the bulls are in this market. Who knows how much of a pullback are we going to get in this market? We obviously have demand zones in the smaller time frame that these markets can easily react from. Okay, I think I have one mapped out here that markets can easily bounce off of and continue again to the upside. Or are we going to now maybe get some deeper retracements into the weekly demand zone that we have right around here? Okay, who knows whether we're going to get a deep enough pullback next week. But again, this is the weekly charts. I'm not even going to waste your time trying to analyze this, because even if we get such a move, we're not probably going to be taking any trades off of those particular setups this week. Okay, so what's the point even wasting your time? But in terms of the week, it's a bullish week. All right, now taking a look at the daily charts, well, we do have a demand zone in here in the daily, okay, but I didn't want to clutter my charts, so I just left the 4 hours demand zone in there. But if you pay attention here, this is also a demand zone that we have here on the daily time frame. Okay, so price can easily dip into that area, and from there any reversals, we might see another push to the upside. All right, for at least a retest of this previous swing high. All right, now going into the 4 hours time frame, this is where I'm kind of liking the price action that I'm seeing. All right, one second, this is where I kind of like the price action that I'm seeing. You can see that price gave us a retest of this level of resistance that we have in this area, and then finally price gave us a very nice push to the upside from here, breaking from this particular level of structure, creating this demand zone in the process here in the 4 hours time frame. So my course of action, very simple. Okay, if price gives us a push to the downside into this particular demand zone right here, anywhere from right around here. If the market begins to give us a bounce to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside in this particular index. Okay, that's pretty much my game plan for Dixie going into next week. Again, I don't trade this particular index. I'm just analyzing it because most of you have asked for it. Okay, so let's take a look at the next, which is now US dollar Swiss francs. Okay, now US dollar Swiss francs, I'm not going to waste your time on this one. We still remain in that triangular consolidation. Right now price is trading closer to the lower bound of this consolidation. Okay, this triangle that we have in the weekly time frame. Not much from a price action perspective. Price is respecting levels at this particular point. You can see it's almost like we have a level of structure right around here. Okay, this buying origin right here seems to be holding price. Okay, and you can see price has bounced off of that level for a few times now. Not much to be said at this particular point, but again, from the kind of price action that we have, chances are maybe we might get a push to the upside. But again, that is not a confirmation, because price can easily give us a very quick push to the downside, clearly breaking this line to the downside for further continuations to the downside. Okay, so this is one possibility. The second possibility is that the zone is going to hold, and then maybe from here, if we begin to break these levels of structure to the upside, then we can have pullbacks to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frame for another push to the upside, maybe towards the 0.9325 level, which coincides with the top of this triangular consolidation. So we need more price action to show up in this particular pair before we make any trading decisions. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now in US dollar Swiss francs. Next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now for Euro US dollar, what a week we had. Okay, first of all, the markets opened with significant gaps to the downside, almost right around the previous week's low, and you can see what we did was price gave us a push to the upside, just enough to fill up that gap, and then from there you can see that the BS just came into this market, and you know, it's just been a very big move to the downside. If you guys remember, first of all, we have a very bearish week. You can see here that is that push to the upside to fill up the gap, and then from here the markets just continue to push to the downside. Now we are tapping into some form of demand zone in this particular area right here. All right, so I would not be surprised if we do get some retracements to the upside from here in just price respecting this area. But in my own opinion, the bears are still in these markets. You can see the markets are clearly, at least in recent times, giving us a very nice push to the downside. So there is no reason to be searching for long opportunities, at least from these longer time frames. Markets are looking bearish from the weekly time frame at the moment. Okay, and well, in this area you can see we have the weekly supply zone that well, depending on the amount of pullback we have, if we do, it's very possible that price can also give us a push to the upside into this weekly supply zone before giving us maybe another push to the downside. Who knows, only time will tell. But again, this is the weekly chart, so don't expect that to happen this week. Okay, all right, now from the daily time frame, again, if you guys remember, we did have like an expanding triangle somewhere in here, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we had an expanding triangle that we were keeping an eye on somewhere right around here. And well, if you guys remember from the midweek forex forecast, I did tell you guys that well, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Price gave us this pin bar off of the bottom line of this expanding triangle, and finally you can see price gave us a very nice break to the downside. So right now this triangle, price has now broken free from this particular triangle, and well, in my own opinion, what I would love to see now next week is for price to give me a push into this supply zone that we have on the 4-hour time frame, from where I would like to see the bears come back into this market. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Let me take a look at the 4-hour time frame and see what we have. Yes, you can see clearly this market is forming lower highs and lower lows, which is indicative of a downtrend. All right, and then well, in my own opinion, this is right around the supply zone from where we had the break of this level of structure right here to the downside, and from there the market has been dropping since then, respecting gravity pretty much. So right now what I would love to see is for price to give me a push, all right, into this 4-hour supply zone right around, let's say, 1.1075 level, or anywhere from right around here. If we begin to get any reversals to the downside, in my own opinion, that would be a high quality trade for another continuation to the downside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing low and beyond. Okay, so let's see how the market behaves next week. As usual, Guys, please keep an eye out for the midweek forex forecast, okay, because the markets can open, and just like we had last week, you can see the gap we had when the markets opened. So that's one of the reasons why I also make those midweek forex forecasts, just to give you an updated level on the charts, okay, because anything can happen from now till markets open, and from markets open till, let's say, when the the big dogs start coming into the markets later in the week. Okay, so let's see how that goes next week. So keep an eye out for the midweek forex forecast videos as well. And also, if you're getting any value from this video, guys, please do not forget to comment. Okay, it's very, very important. Like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on that notification bell, all right, so that we can help this video reach other traders as well. Okay, now that's it for euro US dollar. Next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now for Australian dollar US dollar, if I take a look at the weekly time frame, now the situation here is now looking bullish, at least at the moment, okay, because right now we have now broken a key level on this chart. Okay, this level right here was working as the higher low, actually the lower high. Sorry guys, this level right here was working as the lower high, because we were clearly in a downtrend. The market has been respecting supply zones on our charts on the way to the downside. We took off this low, formed a new lower low, and then from here we formed a lower high, okay, and then the markets just barely tapped below this particular level that we have here. Wait 1 second. Barely tapped below that level, creating a new low right here, which made this a confirmed lower high. But then my expectation was that, well, for us to remain in a downtrend, just like I explained last week, I would like to see this level get respected. I wouldn't want to see price and give me a break above this level. But as you can see here, that's exactly what this market is doing right now. We have broken above this level clearly. So in my own opinion, this is actually looking more like a double bottom right now, okay, for maybe another push to the upside, maybe at least towards this particular area that we have right here. Okay, so well, right now I am more bullish than bearish as far as the Australian dollar is concerned. Just take a look at this weekly candle, okay, just a full body candle from open of the week to the upside, not even one pip to the downside. Okay, so that's a very, very interesting one. And well, closing above this level right now, at least from a demand and supply perspective, we are bullish, all right, from the weekly time frame. Now taking a look at the daily time frame, well, what do you see here? Clear hesitation in this area right around here, okay, right around that 0.7280 level. The market hesitated for a while, and then finally we had a very nice push to the upside, clearly breaking away from that level and forming a demand zone in this process. You can see that demand zone, I just didn't map it out because we have a 4 hours demand zone in that area, and I didn't want to clutter my charts. But if you look here, this is obviously a very nice demand zone that we have here on the daily time frame. All right, so well, I would love to see this market give me a push to the downside now. Okay, it's due for some retracement in my opinion. I would like to see price give me a dip into this particular area, maybe let's say 0.7250 or anywhere in this area. If from here the markets begin to give me any reversals to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside in this particular pair, obviously paying attention to this particular area that we have right here. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now in Australian dollar US dollar. Now taking a look at the 4 hours time frame, not the neatest price action, but you see this is pretty much where this move to the upside began, all right, and that's the reason why I mapped out this 4 hours demand zone, okay, that led to the break of this level of structure that we have right around here. Okay, so well, in the 4 hours time frame, in my own opinion, I would love to see this market give me a push to the downside into this area, anywhere from right around here, guys. Any bounce to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, that's pretty much my game plan for Australian dollar US dollar going into next week. All right, so next up is going to be New Zealand US dollar. Again, just like Australian dollar US dollar, this currency pair is pushing to the upside. Now right now you can see well, we are yet to take off the high of this particular the lower high that we have on this particular currency pair, unlike the Australian dollar US dollar. All right, but we are very close. Okay, it's now been 5 bullish weeks, and you can see with each week pretty much we are getting more significant moves to the upside. Just look at this week's candle, very, very bullish and very close to the high that that lower high that we have in this area. So well, though technically still bearish, but right now it is looking as if we are going to take off that level. It's just probably going to be a matter of time. So let's see how it goes. But at least you can see that we had a very bullish week, all right, and we are now getting close to this area. Not yet, but I believe it's just a matter of time for that to happen. And in the process, you will also see that we had this is a clear supply zone that we had in this area. You can see how the markets reacted from that supply zone in this area. Okay, so let me plot this supply zone that was in this area. The markets dipped in, but then from there, what happened? Obviously, the markets just gave us a push to the downside enough to tap into this demand zone that was formed as a result of this break of structure to the upside. Okay, so you can see right now the markets are forming higher highs and higher lows. You can see how we are not taking off, okay, the lower highs that we have in this particular the higher lows that we have in this particular move to the upside. Okay, so right now, you can see we had a little hesitation here and finally a momentum push to the upside. Okay, so right now, it's also looking as if we are going to get, oops, 1 second. It's also looking as if we are going to get a push to the downside. Okay, just enough to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frame, maybe somewhere right around this area, anywhere from right around here. Any push to the upside, I believe the bulls are going to come into these markets to continue pushing the markets to the upside, and that might be the move that is probably going to take off this high if it happens. Okay, no anticipations here, but I am just saying that that could be the move that might now take off this high that we have on the weekly time frame. Okay, now that being said, let's take a look at the 4 hours time frame and see what's going on in terms of price action. 1 second, let me get rid of this particular supply zone. It's not valid anymore. All right, so now in the 4 hours time frame, you see the picture. Resistance area, price finds resistance again, and finally we get a very nice break to the upside. Even in the smaller time frame, you can see that we just pull back to retest the top of that particular supply zone and of that demand zone, and from here we've now made a new high. So I think we're going to now have a bigger retracement this time, maybe from anywhere right around here. Any dips into this particular demand zone right around, let's say, 0.6800 institutional price level. If we get a bounce from there, I think we are going to probably see another move to the upside. Okay, that's pretty much my game plan going into next week for New Zealand US dollar. As usual, I'll be making an update on these particular levels in the midweek forex forecast video. All right, so keep an eye out on that. I usually release it Wednesday 1 a.m. Eastern time. All right, now next up is going to be British pound and US dollar. Now, what do we have here? Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. Well, very beautiful. You can see this market has been pretty much looking bearish. Okay, you can see how we've been respecting supply zones in this particular currency pair. Right now, price has given us almost a retest of these lows. So in my own opinion, this pair might be giving us some retracements early next week before we might have maybe another attack to the downside. Okay, because we're pretty much close to those lows that we have in this area. Okay, so even though we are having very bearish moves, in my own opinion, I think we are now due for some, pullbacks to the upside to retest maybe supply zones that have formed on the smaller time frames from where the markets might now continue to the downside. All right, so let's take a look and see what we have in the daily charts. Okay, so from the daily charts, you can see price is continuing to push to the downside. We got this nice push. You can see, well, let me show you guys what's exactly going on in this particular currency pair. We have this supply zone in here, and how is this supply? You can see this move right here took off this demand zone that we have in this area, creating the supply zone. Price gives us a push to the upside into this supply zone, finds resistance. If you guys remember, I also called out this level, I think was it last week's video or the week before, but you can see we respected this supply zone, and from there the bears came into this market. We broke this low and we are continuing to the downside. Yes, we are finding a little hesitation in this area, but in my own opinion, I feel like from right around here we might get some push to the upside. Okay, just to respect this demand zone that we have in this area. Okay, let me map that out right here. Okay, we have demand in that area because you can see we have a clear break of structure to the upside from this particular origin that we have here, this bullish origin. Okay, so right now price has dipped into that area right around the 13200 institutional price level, and we are beginning to get some retracements in the market, okay, to the upside. So again, from what I'm seeing right here, it's very possible that we might get some significant retracements to the upside into this 4-hour supply zone, from where I think the bears might give us another attack to the downside in this particular currency pair. All right, so let's see what happens. Again, taking a look at the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes even clearer. Okay, you can see how we had pretty much a ranging market, okay, until earlier today. After the release of the non-farm payroll, the markets just gave us a very quick break to the downside, clearly breaking this level of structure that we have in this area to the downside, creating this supply zone in the process. So right now you can see the picture is clearer. If we do get a push to the upside, let's say 133.25 level, anywhere from right around here, if we get any bounces to the downside, in my own opinion, that would be a high quality trade to the downside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing low area that we have right around here, okay, and beyond. Okay, so let's see how that goes. In the event that the markets opens next week, and maybe the markets get to this level and we begin to break clearly above this particular level of supply on the 4 hours time frame, very simple, guys, just watch out for demand zones that we have on the smaller time frame, and any bounces from those, look for long opportunities to continue to ride this move to the upside. Okay, that's pretty much the game plan for British pounds and US dollar as we go into next week. Next up, US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now this pair remains in the flat top triangular consolidation on the weekly time frame. If you guys remember, we have been keeping a track on this particular currency pair. We had these 3 week rejections to the downside, and I was expecting a clear bullish break to the upside. We did get the break, but it ended up being a fake out. You can see that last week ended a pin bar inside that range, so that was not clear price action, and we did have a demand zone here in the daily time frame, which you're going to see in a minute. But just watch how this week, upon the interest rate release from the Canadian axis earlier this week, this pair just gave us a quick spike to the downside, deep into that demand zone, from where the bulls came into this market, and right now we are now trading above that demand zone again. So still looking bullish, at least from the weekly time frame. You can see that this week again closed even a bigger weak rejection to the downside, and also you can see the beautiful pin bar that we have. So who knows, is this the week that the markets might now give us, let's say, that nice push to the upside towards the top of this particular flat top triangle? Well, only time will tell. Let's see how it goes. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, not much in this particular area, other than the fact that we have this pretty large demand zone area that price dipped into, and right now is bouncing off of. In the 4 hours time frame, again, not much. One thing is clear here though, you can see that right now this push to the upside clearly took off this supply zone that we have in this area. So that means that the bulls are in this market. The question now is, how deep of a retracement are we going to get? Is it going to be just a bounce off of this demand zone that we have in the hourly time frame, or will price make it all the way back to this bullish origin that we have in this area right around 1.2625 area before we get a push to the upside? So those are the 2 possible scenarios in my own opinion. So let's see which one is going to play out next week. Do we get a bounce off of, let's say, 1.2700 institutional price level for further continuations to the upside, or will we get even a deeper push into this weekly buying origin, this demand area that we have here that led to the break of this level of structure before the bulls come into this market? Okay, so let's see how that will go. All right, now that's it for US dollar and Canadian dollar in my own opinion. All right, next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. I don't have anything in this currency pair right now. As you guys know, in my own opinion, this pair is just stuck in this area. Nothing is happening. It's almost like the markets are ranging right now in this currency pair. Looking more bearish, to be honest, because you can see that we are having some weak rejections in the weekly time frame, and this week now we had a push to the upside towards, let's say, 115.75 level, and from there you can see the bears came into this market and succeeded in closing this week's candle a pin bar. So I would not be surprised if the market just continues to give us another push to the downside for next week. Okay, so I'm going to be more bearish, okay, than bullish, but at the moment price is still respecting key levels that we have on the smaller time frames, okay, like the daily and 4 hours time frame. Okay, you can easily see this level right here that is working as some support on this particular currency pair right now on the daily time frame and even possibly the 4 hours time frame. You can see this is the area I'm talking about. So, well, what I would love to see as we go into next week in this particular currency pair, clearly it's looking as if the bears in this market, but not yet clear because price is still trading above this particular area. So what I would love to see next week, maybe some form of a push to the upside before we finally break this level, and then upon any push to the upside, I would be looking in at the smaller time frames for price to fill up supply zones that we have on those smaller time frames, and then any bounces to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short in this pair for further continuations to the downside. That is going to be my game plan for US dollar Japanese yen as we go into next week. All right, next up is going to be British pounds Japanese yen. Now this is going to be the last of the majors. All right, I'm not going to waste your time. Weekly time frame, again, this pair is looking like we are still in this range. Okay, you can see the range that we have in this particular currency pair, with this being the high of the range and this right here being the low of the range. Okay, so this is where this pair is trading right now. We are just bouncing up and down inside this weekly range, as you can see. All right, and just similar to the US dollar Japanese yen, you can see that this pair just gave us a very quick push to the upside. All right, towards this previous swing high that we have here, and from there you can see the bears have just been coming into these markets, and finally we have now taken off this area. Okay, we had this level right here, this demand zone that was holding price for a while right around here. Okay, so this is the demand zone. Price acted as if it wants to bounce off, but finally we respect the this supply. This is not supply, okay, right now, but it is a level. You can see right here we did not take it off, and from there the bears came into these markets, and right now we are clearly trading below that particular level. So right now the bears in these markets, make no mistake, this is quite a large supply zone that we have here on the daily, so I did not map it out, all right, because I don't want to create any confusion. All right, I have a 4-hour supply zone inside that area, so I think that is going to be sufficient, and I believe right now that most likely it's not a must. Okay, most likely price might give us a dip into this particular 4-hour supply zone right around that, let's say 153.75 level, 153.80 area, anywhere from right around here. I believe if I get any bounces to the downside, that will be a high quality trade in my own opinion for further continuations to the downside in this particular currency pair. Okay, now taking a look at the 4 hours time frame, this is the clear supply zone here. The picture becomes even clearer. You can see how this market has been, pushing to the downside, respecting the levels of supply that we have on this particular chart. So right now you can see that we had this level right here. Price finally gave us a break of this level of structure to the downside, creating this supply zone in the process. So right now what I would love to see next week is for price to give me a push to the upside into this particular 4-hour supply zone right around, let's say 153.75 level, anywhere from right around here, deep inside the supply zone. If we get any bounces to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short in this particular currency pair for further continuations to the downside. That is my game plan for British pounds and Japanese yen as we go into next week. Now I have 3 cross pairs that I would like to give an update on. Okay, actually a lot of pairs are trending right now very, very heavily. I am not really keeping an eye on those, like your, let's say, Euro Australian dollar, British pounds Australian dollar, British pounds New Zealand dollar, and so on and so forth. So those currency pairs, I just want to wait for them to kind of normalize, because right now it's almost like we have a parabolic move in those pairs. Okay, so I'm staying away from those, but I have also 3 cross pairs that I'm going to be calling your attention to at the moment. First one is going to be British pounds Swiss francs. Okay, right now let's take a look at the weekly time frame, guys. This pair is looking nice in my own opinion. If you pay attention here, well, we've been quite right in this particular currency pair for the most part in our analysis. You can remember we called this particular demand zone right here. We said when price got here that we most likely will get a push to the upside, but we might respect these supply zones that we have in this area right around here. okay, that led to the break of this level of structure. And you can see that, well, from there the markets gave us a push into that area, and from there you can see the weak rejections we got. I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I told you guys that I'm expecting a very heavy fall in this particular currency pair, you know, in the upcoming week. And you can see that, well, that is exactly how this pair played out. Pretty much a 400 pips drop in the past 2 weeks. All right, so, well, that's looking nice. We are still respecting those areas. Price is now back again into this particular demand zone. The $1 million question now is, are we going to break this particular demand zone right now, or is price going to hold? One thing is for sure, current market bias is to the downside, as we can see that the market is forming lower highs and lower lows, all right, which in my own opinion is indicative of a downtrend. Well, actually not in my own opinion, which, as we know, is indicative of a downtrend. Okay, so right now, let's see how it goes. Okay, let's take a look at the smaller time frames and see what's going on. But from a weekly perspective, price just gave us a push to the upside, enough to fill up the gap that we had for the you know, during the weekend. And you can see from there the markets just gave us a very continuous push to the downside, closing pretty much at the lows of the week. Okay, so very bearish in my own opinion. All right, but again, we are trading pretty close to the lows that we have on the daily chart. So a pullback in my own opinion is due. So I would love to see this pair give us some reaction to the upside. Okay, enough in my own opinion to push into the supply zone that we have, let's say in the 4 hours time frame. You know, before the bears, I will expect the bears again to start coming back into this market. Okay, who knows, only time will tell. Now in the 4 hours time frame, what do we have? Well, it's looking beautiful. All right, I actually caught a very nice trade in this particular pair and rode it very well from right around here. Okay, but that's by the way. Now we have this level right here, and you can see that price gave us a push to the downside, and from here we hesitated a little bit, and finally we got a clear break of this level of structure, creating this 4 hour supply zone in the process. So just like I told you guys, what I would love to see next week, I would like to see price give me a push into this particular area, maybe let's say towards 122.50 institutional price level, anywhere from right around here. If we get bounces to the downside, I would like to see this pair continue to give us a push to the downside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing low and even beyond. Okay, that's it for British pounds Swiss francs. Next up is going to be euro yen. Now for euro yen, let's take a look at the weekly time frame, see what's going on. Well, this pair right now, you can see that we are looking more bearish. The markets are making lower highs and lower lows at this point, which, well, is indicative of a downtrend. We have clearly taken off this particular level of structure at this level. All right, so the bears in these markets, well, you can see this week, not even 1 pip to the upside from the open of the week. Markets opened 130.13 and we closed 125.44. So that is almost a 500 pip move in this week, all to the downside. All right, so it is obvious that the bears are in these markets. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, the picture is very clear. Look at the level of structure that we have here. Price hesitated a little bit, gave us a push to the downside, clearly breaking below that level. Okay, so creating this daily supply zone, all right, in here. I just didn't map it out as usual because I don't want to clutter my charts. Okay, this is a daily supply zone, and again, it's very possible that the markets are going to give us a dip into that area, that daily supply zone, from where we will expect the bears to come into these markets to continue pushing these markets again to the downside. Okay, and right now, well, let's take a look at the 4 hours time frame. I believe the picture is clearer at the 4 hours time frame. All right, so right now this is the level I am keeping an eye on. Okay, right around let's say, I think maybe 127.75 level. I would like to see this market give me a push now to the upside into this particular 4 hour supply zone that is nested in the daily supply zone. All right, right around, let's say that's 127.75 institutional price level. Anywhere from right around here, guys, if we get any reversals to the downside, I will be all over these charts looking for short opportunities for at least a possible retest of this previous swing low, and again beyond to the downside. All right, so let's see how that goes next week. Okay, as usual, if the market just continues to push to the downside, I will readjust my levels, okay, and just continue to map out the demand and supply zones that form on my charts. All right, it's as simple as that. All right, now the last but not the least is going to be New Zealand Swiss francs. All right, now this pair again, well, if you take a look at the weekly, not much. All right, price gave us a very nice push to the downside, but it's as if the bulls are now coming into these markets, forming higher highs and higher lows in the smaller time frames. If you take a look here, this was pretty much the last supply area, and you can see this week's move, this move right here took off all of those levels again to the upside. So the bulls are in these markets. The picture is clearer in the 4 hours time frame. You can see a key level of resistance that we have on this pair right around here, resistance again, and finally we got a nice push to the upside, breaking that key level of structure and creating this 4 hours demand zone in the process. So my game plan is very simple. It's as if the markets are now in the process of turning around. All right, so what I would like to see next week is for price to give me let's say early next week, maybe Monday, for price to give me a dip into this particular demand zone anywhere from right around here, guys. Any bounce we get to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. These are the currency pairs that are giving me some structural levels to keep an eye on as we go into next week. Like I said, there are other currency pairs just to show you what I mean. This is British pounds, New Zealand. Just take a look and see the markets are just dropping heavily. Okay, it's kind of hard to even map out levels, okay, in this particular currency pair. It just continues to push to the downside, and in my own opinion, that's very, very steep. Okay, I prefer to stay away from these particular currency pairs. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you gain some value from this video. Again, keep an eye out for the midweek forex forecast, when I give you an updated picture based on the price action that we got early in the week. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully you gained some value from this video. If you did, please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, click on that notification bell, and most importantly, guys, please drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Those comments are very helpful because it's almost like my feedback from you guys to know exactly maybe the kind of content that you guys want to see, and also it will help the YouTube algorithm to kind of push this to other traders as well. All right, so thanks everyone. Cheers, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a profitable week ahead. Bye bye.